Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Humbert here, and today we're going to be doing Unit 8's Notes 3. So we're going to be talking first about the area of circles. So let's go ahead and let's write down the formula for the area of circle. And that's something that we have talked about probably talked about in middle school or a little bit before. So the area of a circle is equal to pi times r squared. So what does r squared represent? Well, r squared represents the radius. So really all we're doing is we're taking whatever value the radius is and we're squaring it and we're going to multiply it times pi. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at a couple of examples. So let's take a look at number 1. Number 1 says find the area of a circle with a radius of 15. So the area is going to be equal to pi times 15 squared. So the first thing I want to do is I want to figure out what 15 squared is. So then what we want to do is 15 squared is 225. So we get 225 pi. So now I'm going to type that in my calculator so I can get a decimal approximation of the area of that circle. So I'm going to do in my calculator 225 times pi. Well, that's going to end up being 706.858. And now what I usually like to do is I like to round it to 2 decimal points. So when I do that, I look at the third decimal point. I see that the third decimal point is 5 or greater, so I need to round that 5 up. So then I get 706.86, and then we notice that our label is meters. And remember that we always square our label when we're talking about area. So we have 706.86 meters squared. Taking a look at number 2. Number 2 asks us to find the area of a circle with a radius of 12.2 inches. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have pi times 12.2 squared, and that's going to give us our area. So in my calculator, first thing I'm going to do is figure out what 12.2 squared is. And 12.2 squared is 148.84, and then that's going to be multiplied by pi. So in my calculator, I'm going to type in 148.84 times pi. And when I do that, I end up getting 467.59. So I rounded there. Go ahead and type that into your calculator yourself. What decimal do you get? Check that rounding. My label on this was inches, so I'm going to write it as inches, and then I am going to square it. So the final answer for number 2 is 467.59 inches squared. Next, let's take a look at number 3. So for number 3, now it tells us that the diameter is 12. So if the diameter is 12, to get the radius, we're just going to take the diameter and divide it by 2. So then 12 divided by 2 is 6. So we get a radius of 6. Now we can go ahead and type that in or put that into our area formula. So we get area is equal to pi times 6 squared. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out what 6 squared is, and that's going to be 36. So our area is going to be equal to 36 times pi. So our area is equal to 36 times pi. Multiply that out in your calculator, and you end up getting 113.097. So again, I wrote the 3 decimal points out because I want to make sure we can round correctly. Okay, so the third number is 5 or greater, so we need to round this 9 up. Well, when we round 9 up, we actually end up having to round this number up. So what we end up getting is 113.10 for our area. And they didn't give us a label, so we're not going to give them a label. It's only fair, right? All right, let's take a look at number 4. Number 4 asks you to find the radius of a circle with an area of 95 centimeters. So now our area is 95, and that's equal to pi r squared. So basically, I need to solve this for r squared. So the first thing I want to do is get my pi over to the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divide both sides by pi. Okay, so 95 divided by pi is going to give me 30.24, and that's going to be equal to my r squared. Okay, so now I want to undo the r squared. So in order to undo the r squared, I need to take the square root. So I'm taking the square root of both sides. So r is equal to the square root of 30.24. And then you end up getting 5.499. So again, that third number is 5 or greater. So what we need to do is we need to round this guy up, and when we round this guy up, we end up having to round that guy up. So then we end up getting r is equal to 5.5, and then it's just going to be centimeters because we're calculating the radius. So we kind of undid that squared when we calculate out the radius. So the answer is just 5.5 or 5.50 centimeters. Next, number 5, find the diameter of a circle with an area of 196 pi. So the area is 196 pi, and that's equal first to pi r squared. Let's go ahead and let's get our radius, and then once we get our radius, we can very easily get our diameter. So what I notice when I write this out is that I have pi written on both sides, which means I can go ahead and I can actually cancel that pi out. Because if I were to divide both sides by pi, like this, the pi's would cancel on both sides. So that's why I can get rid of that pi. So then I end up getting that r squared is equal to 196. So now I want to solve for r squared. So to solve for r squared, I need to take the square root of both sides. Well, the square root of r of 196 is just going to be 14. So the radius of that circle is 14. Now we want to find the diameter. So what we're going to do to get the diameter is we're going to take the radius and we're going to multiply it by 2. So our diameter is equal to 14 times 2. Multiply that together and you get 28. I noticed that for area, my label was yards squared, so then my diameter is just simply going to be in yards. So the diameter of that circle is 28 yards. Okay. So let's take a look. If you and your friend order a large pizza from Pizza Hut, which has a 14-inch diameter, okay, immediately what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, that means that my radius is 7. I want to make a note to myself at that point so that I know if I need to calculate out the area, what it's going to be. It says, what is the total amount of pizza in square inches you will eat if you split it equally? So first, before we figure out how much we each get to eat, let's figure out what the area of the entire pizza is itself. So the area is equal to pi r, which is 7 squared. So pi 7 squared. Well, 7 squared is 49. So then we get our area is equal to 49 pi. So then we're going to put that into our calculator. We're going to do 49 times pi. And when you do that, you end up getting 153.94 inches. So that's the area of the entire pizza itself, is 153.94 inches. Now, how much are each of you and your friends going to get to eat? So you plus 3 of your friends is 4 total people. So we're going to take 153.94, and we're going to take that and we are going to divide it by the 4 people that are going to be eating it to see how much area each of us get. Well, when you divide that out, you end up getting 38.48, and then we're going to call that inches squared. Okay, so 38.48 inches squared, and this should be squared as well, because we're still talking about area. So that's how much area of pizza each of you and your friends are going to get. So how does this apply? How can you use this to your slumber party on Friday? Well, conveniently for you, we're going to take a look. So what we're going to do is we are going to figure out what's the best deal for pizza is what we're going to figure out, okay? So we're going to figure out, is it a better deal for us to get just a large Papa John's pizza, or is it a better deal for us to get 2 medium Domino's pizzas? So let's take a look. Area of a Papa John's pizza. Generally, a large pizza has 14 inches in diameter, which means it's 7 inches in radius. So the area of a Papa John's pizza is pi r squared, which is pi times 49. So really, it's the same area as we did on the front side of this worksheet, which is 153.94 inches. I'm just going to let my computer catch up with me here. So we get 153.94 inches squared for the area of a large Papa John's pizza. So we want to figure out the Papa John's pizza per dollar. So how much pizza do you get per dollar? So we're going to take our price, or our area, which is 153.94, and we're going to divide it by the cost of a large pizza, which on here is $10. So we're going to take that and divide it by 10, and you end up getting 15.39 inches per dollar. So you're getting 15.39 inches of pizza for every dollar that you spend. Now, let's go ahead and let's do the same with Domino's. So first we want to calculate the area of a Domino's pizza. Okay, a medium pizza is only 12-inch, which means that the radius is only 6 inches. So the area of a Domino's pizza, so we're going to do pi times 6 squared. So that's going to be equal to pi times 36. So then in my calculator, I'm going to type 36 times pi. And when you type in 36 times pi, you end up getting 113.10 inches. So there's 100 squared. So there's 113.10 inches squared of pizza. So now what's the area of 2 Domino's pizzas? Well, we're just going to take this number right here and we're going to multiply it by 2. So we get 226.19, and then it's going to be inches squared. Again, so all I did was take one medium pizza and multiply it times 2. Okay? So then price for 2 medium Domino's medium pizzas. So we'll just call that, it's $5.99 for 2 medium pizzas. So 2 medium pizzas are $5.99. That's pretty cheap. So the cost of 2 pizzas is $5.99. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take and we are going to divide our price by, or our amount of pizza, which is 226.19, divided by the $5.99 that it's going to cost for the 2 medium pizzas. So 226.19 divided by the $5.99 that it costs for 2 medium pizzas. And then you end up getting 37.76 inches per dollar. So you get 37.76 inches of pizza for every dollar you spend, which is a lot better than the 15.39. So what we determined is that it's a better deal to get 2 medium pizzas because you get more pizza for your dollar. So that concludes your note video today. Go ahead and show me a completed note sheet once you're done. Thanks for listening.